Nothing to do with Islam. It doesn't mean our traditions and our beliefs are in some way inferior. It's the feeling that Americans believe in their own cultural superiority and the fear that our own way of life will be overwhelmed that leads to a reaction against them. The roots of this resentment against America go back to the days of colonialism. They have inherited a legacy of hatred that was once aimed specifically at Western powers, whose empires dominated most of the Muslim world. If this seems unfair because America has never had an empire, then look again. Nowadays, many feel that we are still under the control of the West, but by proxy, and America is seen to be at the heart of it. Humayun Gohar is a political commentator who writes extensively on development economics.
After decolonization after the Second World War, we moved into the era from physical military colonization into a more sophisticated kind of economic colonization. And when the IMF came into being, the International Monetary Fund, these instruments became instruments of colonization, of domination. I mean, after all, what is the IMF? It is basically a bank to help countries, especially in the third world, overcome immediate balance of payment deficit problems. Now, they have been lending willy-nilly to third world governments, knowing that those were corrupt governments, knowing that they were undemocratic governments, knowing that this money would never be returned, it will be misapplied, misused, in some cases even embezzled. IMF is seen as an instrument of economic colonization, as an instrument by which America can continue to politically dominate the world, but through economic domination. The effect that it has had on people's lives, why don't you go and talk to the farmers? Go to the bazaars, talk to the ordinary shopkeeper. He'll tell you exactly what I'm telling you, probably in a much more colorful language.
I decided to do just that. I took a quick tour of the street merchants and traders in the bazaars in Lahore to see what Humayun Gohar meant. The amazing thing is that anywhere else in the Western world, the majority of the population would not even know what the IMF is. Yet in this part of the world, even the poorest farmer, the poor shopkeeper, the average person, all knew what the IMF was. He's not even referring to IMF as a separate entity. He says IMF is really America. And America causes us, it tries to control us, controls our economy through the IMF, and they keep increasing these rates, the utility rates, and the people are getting crushed by them. Of course, if you borrow money, you have to pay it back with interest. But people like Siddiq, who I used to play cricket with, is one of the millions who think America uses money as an imperial tool. He's saying that IMF is perceived as a tool of the United States, and United States uses the IMF to promote its worldwide agenda, whether it's economic or political. Out in the countryside, where the vast bulk of the Pakistan population lives, the issue is one of survival. 70% of Pakistan's tax revenue goes into debt servicing. Pressure from the IMF forces the government to frequently raise utility prices. These are the people who suffer the most.
वो पता नहीं कहाँ जाते हैं, कहाँ खर्च किए जाते हैं, तो उनका बोझ हमारे ऊपर ही पड़ता है.
See, he's saying that a liter of diesel has gone up from 11 rupees to last year to 20 rupees this year. And, their tractors, everything needs the fuel. And he says the impact it has had is that it has impoverished us, and we don't know where these loans which come into Pakistan, we don't know where they are spent, but we are left with the burden of paying these loans through these increased prices. See, he's saying it's devastating what's happened. He's saying that, look, the costs have gone